She was a mom, a wife, a daughter, and a sister. And last night, Virginia Giuffre's siblings bravely sat down to talk about the person, the human being, that Donald Trump says Jeffrey Epstein stole from him. Now, as you're about to see, their pain is palpable, but their message is essential. And the question that they pose to the president is irrefutable. Maybe their words and their tears will raise eyebrows and force a reckoning of collective conscience among the pious Christian soldiers guarding their deeply flawed idol. Well, here's a very serious and remarkable display of familial loyalty and the real damage that the normalization of dehumanization can wrought. From just last night's weeknight on MSNBC, this is not pretty.
I think we were shocked by it. Especially to use the term stolen. Because she's not an object. She's a person who's recruited at Mar-a-Lago, his property, place where she was looking forward to having fun that summer. And it just kind of makes us wonder, how much he knew.
It's a very good question. Joining us at the table to discuss, MSNBC legal analyst Mary McCord. She is a former principal deputy assistant attorney general for the National Security Division. And MSNBC political analyst David Corn is also with us. He is the Washington bureau chief for Mother Jones. Such a heart-wrenching interview. Oh, my goodness. Our family shouldn't have had to do that.
Yeah. Mary, you prosecuted sex crimes for a few years in the past. And one of the things that I think MSNBC has done a good job of, but not everybody, is thinking about the survivors first, having conversations about the survivors. And now you see Hallie Jackson having an interview with her family. When you hear those kinds of things, to me, it feels like the White House is forgetting that, too, that they're forgetting about the survivors, and there's almost a lack of empathy in their conversation talking about this.
This entire story since it broke, right? The focus has all been on, let's get the evidence, let's find out who the culprits were, right? With, I think, a total lack of emphasis on the victims. Now, I was here the other night, and we did talk about the serious nature of these crimes. And as someone who prosecuted child sex offenses, I worked with victims, I worked with victims' families. What I just heard that family say is so reminiscent, right? Sometimes it was, a boyfriend of the mother of a child, right? And you would have similar kind of dramatic statements from families about, honestly, did mom know about what the boyfriend was doing? And here it's, did the president, not the president at the time, know about what Jeffrey Epstein was doing? How many teenagers were being, quote unquote, stolen by Epstein from his spas? Certainly it's more than one, because the president complained about it, right? And said he complained about it. So I am glad, I'm glad that Hallie did that interview. And not all victims or their families want to speak out, but if they do, people need to know that we're in this swirl of a debate, and Congress is involved, and so many people, give me the goods, give me the goods, give me the goods. These are real people's lives, people who were broken as children, and that kind of abuse sticks with you the rest of your life.
More than 1,000, at least 1,000 survivors in the document.
And I think to both your points, David, that idea that there are so many other individuals who are involved in this, it begs the point. Can you release everything so we have a better understanding of what's happening? You have Ms. Giuffre's sister-in-law, Amanda Roberts, making the point that Ms. Giuffre was herself fighting for that release, noting she had a little bit of hope in her because it was said that the files were going to be released, and she wanted everything that happened to her very clearly, and everyone else who was implicated in that wanted that to be released. And it was she was still fighting for that before she left us. So I think she wants what we all want, is transparency and justice. Talk about that piece of it, because that wraps in everybody, like Eugene just put on the table.
Well, there's a right way to do this and a wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
And the reason why this has even become an issue is because Donald Trump and others on the right for years have been pushing this crazy conspiracy theory, right? That it was first Pizzagate, then QAnon, that there's this satanic, cannibalistic group of globalists who are sex trafficking children. They never had any evidence, till Jeffrey Epstein came along. And they used that as the manifestation of this crazy, almost theological notion that has infiltrated MAGA. And so they just became kind of obsessed with this. And all they wanted to do was get it out, get it out, get it out, not thinking about what it means for victims or even thinking about the right way to do this. They concocted this crazy notion that there's a clients list. There's no indication there's a clients list of any sort out there. I mean, there's records out there. And they really thought this would be the Rosetta Stone proving this gigantic global conspiracy that would bring down all the elites that they hate, they can't stand. And so they were just, Kash Patel, Don Bongino, all these others for years have been just saying, we just got to release the files without knowing what that actually means. And the way to do this, I mean, you know this, Mary, from working with grand jury, testimony and materials, is you need to review it. And sometimes you need, I won't say a special counsel, but somebody to go in there who can say, okay, this stuff, we got to talk to the victims first. We got to see what we can redact. And there's a right way and wrong way. But they didn't care. And now Trump is kind of hoisted on his own petard here by making this the holy grail of MAGA.
Right, right.
He fed he stoked the fire, and the thing about a fire is when you light it, it is uncontrollable. You can't, you don't know, they could not have known where this was going to go. It just literally makes no sense to me why Donald Trump trafficked in this conspiracy theory around the real crimes of Jeffrey Epstein in the first place when he know he was friends with Jeffrey Epstein.
Video of it. It's not like we were maybe friends.
Yeah, not maybe friends. Like, we have B-roll that we could put up on the screen right now of him kikiing and laughing with Jeffrey Epstein. What is so, I really feel for Virginia Giuffre's family. I feel for, look at this. Look, like, he knew Jeffrey Epstein. I feel for all of the families and the survivors that are still with us, because Donald Trump he invoked these young women these girls that were working at his establishment in the spa, if you will. He invoked their story as if to give him cover.
Yeah.
That's what it was, Mary. The reason we even know, because Virginia Giuffre is the only person that has ever been on record that we know of that worked at Mar-a-Lago and was recruited by Ghislaine Maxwell. She's the only person that has ever said that's her story. It's the president that told us this. I don't know if it's a lie or if he's telling us more truth about the fact that, there are lots of people that Jeffrey Epstein tried to take from me.
Said it as a slight to him.
Exactly.
And called him a creep, right? And then the question was, what is he a creep for? Is it for taking girls, or because because the president did point out the other day in the comments we talked about a few nights ago, they were people who worked in massage at the spa. So what do you think? That's why the family's asking these questions. Did he know that?
And what interests me is his story has shifted. It really has. It began with, he was a creep because he hit on the daughter of a club member. Someone was there. Okay, that's an explanation. Then it was that, he stole one person from me. Now he stole two people from me. And Carolyn Levitt came out today or yesterday and said the problem was he was a creep to the employees of Mar-a-Lago. Not that he stole or recruited them, or Ghislaine recruited them, but that he was creepy to them. So, these are slight differences, but they are differences.
They're evolutions. They are clear evolutions.
I don't understand why there's not a clear story. If I was a good friend with someone like Jeffrey Epstein, and then
But you weren't.
Which I wasn't, and I broke with that guy, I would be bragging about that for years afterwards. He broke, he says before the first prosecution, and I would know the details pretty damn well.
It's a stunning turn of bravery and humanity. Well, let's see what happens in response this weekend. But if we can see Virginia Giuffre as a flesh and blood human being, not a thing to be stolen, well, we should also see Donald Trump as a flesh and blood human being, not to be trusted.
Well, you could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant. Tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show. Yes. And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. They're standing there with no clue. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible looking women. And so I sort of get away with it.